This is Kardec Radio bringing to you the book The Medium's Harvest, written by the spirit author Emmanuel and psychographed by Chico Xavier. This partial audio recording will cover Chapter 1, titled A Century of Spiritism. Enjoy. Chapter 1, A Century of Spiritism. Open meeting on January 4th, 1960. Question number 1. These question numbers reference the question number or paragraph or section or item number in Allan Kardec's book, The Medium's Book. In an entire century of activity, we have seen science searching passionately for the reality of the spirit. Indisputable proofs have not been denied, and they were so many that Richer was able to articulate, with great success, the classical bases of metapsychics, utilizing resources as expressive and convincing as those used in the exposition of any of the problems in pathology or botany. Distinguished wisemen such as Wallace and Zollner, Crookes and Lombroso, Myers and Lodge, activating notable mediums, performed experiments of incontestable value. However, if in these 50 years mediumship has served the brilliant work of scientific observation, projecting men's inquiries into the spiritual sphere, it is only fair that it now satisfy the moral necessities of the earth, transporting to men warnings from the spiritual sphere. If the first 100 years of the Spiritist doctrine beheld admirable achievements, from the profound calculations of nuclear physics to the rudiments of astronautics, it saw just as well terrible calamities. The wars of conquest and rapine, which means theft of property, in which the prisoner camps were theaters for the most heinous scenes of barbarism and degradation in the name of rights, the technique of mass destruction of cities, the political inquisitions made to resemble the old religious inquisitions, muzzling the liberty of conscience, the proliferation of the abortion industry, at times with the support of respectable authorities, the growing wave of suicides, the delirium of narcotics, the abuse of hypnosis, the rampant proxenetism, which means the negotiation of sexual favors, or pimping, transformed an elegant habit of modern life, the increase of the so-called perfect crimes, manifesting the perversion of the human intelligence, and a frightening amount of mental illnesses based on obsession. Therefore, a scientific spiritism, one that spends an indefinite amount of time exploring the survival of the soul beyond the grave, does not suffice. Aside from the most eminent researchers' elevated proposals, groping the realms of the soul, we must not forget the edification of the feelings. Thus, when repeating Christ's lessons to the tormented world, we find ourselves not just in front of a social spiritism, but in the midst of a movement recovering human dignity. For, in truth, if we are to enlighten the populace in face of the irresponsible materialism that shadows universities and governmental offices, administrations and councils, laboratories and temples, halls and crowds, Christ's gospel is urgently needed.